This is Miller Philosopher. In the Lay of Beren and Luthien, Luthien's song to the Vala Mandos is one of the top pivotal moments in the story. And this is because, canonically, it's the only thing that moves him to push back on the divine mandate given to the Valar by Uru because of how essentially depressing it was. I'm going to posit, however, that its importance goes more intimately beyond that, and how that concerns the Lords of the West. Prior to these events, the Silmarillion displays the Valar as learning on the job, basically. All of them, even Melkor, signed up for the job of inhabiting Arda willingly, thinking that they knew what they were getting themselves into, yet realizing as time went on, not really. They make mistakes, lots of mistakes, even after Luthien's song, but none of it was done out of malice. They try to do the best they can for Middle-earth in the beginning, fighting 2 primeval wars just to secure its safety from Melkor. And moreover, their decision to encourage the first generation of elves to migrate from Middle-earth to Valinor for their own protection and safety, while a mistake, was also done out of care, even though some like Feanor believed it was done for their own ego. After the majority of the Noldor leave, however, after the Battle of Aqualande and the Beregrond Wars start to kick off in the full swing, we don't hear much from them again, except with the watchful eye of Umo, who remains involved in Middle-earth affairs. We all know how awesome he is, so there's no need to reiterate that here, but other than that, the rest of the Valar seem content to let the curse of Mandos play out and go about their lives in Valinor feasting and whatnot. And while the Silmarillion says that Manwë and Varda can see all things that occur in Middle-earth, it also implies or says that they can't. And one of the things that they cannot see nor understand is the lives of humanity and even the Sindar and Noldor elves on an individual level. The Valar, to a large degree, knew of Uru's plan, but because they were within the universe, there were parts that they could not conceive of, that they didn't get nor were aware of. And a huge one was the human race. They were intimate with the elves because they were the firstborn and were immortal. Basically, they had plenty of time to get acquainted with each other and their ways. Mortals, however, were created late, and only after the Noldor began their war with Morgoth. And even then, the Valar were completely unaware of this, while Melkor apparently was. Therefore, rather than seeing them as individuals with their own desires and issues and so on, like they seem to see many of the elves in Valinor, I think the Valar saw mortals more as projects, cogs in a larger plan that they had no contact with. Again, with the exception of Umo, they knew that they die, and once they die, they went to Uru knows where, and that was it. And as for the Noldor, I think in their minds, they were gonna get what was coming to them anyway, so they didn't give them much thought beyond their departure, with 1 or 2 possible exceptions that are mentioned here and there. Now, enter Beren and Luthien. Their lives and adventures are woven into a greater part of the plan that the Valar were following, yet not aware of. It was infused with their suffering and grief that they witnessed and loved as a result of Morgoth's war with them. When Beren dies in Doriath, Luthien dies afterwards from grief and an overwhelming love to be reunited with him. However, she runs headlong into Uru's wall of the divine rules. Immortals are bound to Arda till it's remade. Mortals leave it entirely. So, therefore, Luthien sings her song. By her own native power and the substance and authenticity of the experience themselves, the individual lives of the people of Middle-earth now become 3-dimensional to the Valar. She becomes the first ambassador of Middle-earth, basically. Again, not out of malice, but the fact was that the Valar Mandos especially saw the lives of mortals analytically, basically. Numbers on a page rather than the same way that they saw the elves that they cherished so much so as to try and remove them from danger. Luthien's song now injects an Uru-sized dose of reality into that perception, that it's not only Morgoth's and the Noldor's actions that have consequences, but their own as well. even more importantly, that this comes through Mandos, the very one responsible for the judgment of the Noldor way back when in the first place. So therefore, it's through this that the Valar start to see mortals as people with names and enduring suffering that they did not ask for and weren't even a part of in its origin. And I'll take this one step further by saying that this lasted beyond the First Age, that the Valar rewarded the survivors of the Edain because they had come to start to truly understand the suffering of the world and that not all of it was deserved. That perhaps Numenor and its people were an attempt by the Valar to not only recognize this, but also to basically, in a way, recompense them for their own neglect. But having said all that, let me know your own thoughts below, whether you agree or disagree with this, or perhaps want to add on to that. This is the Miller Philosopher, and you guys have a good day.